Hi, my name's Steve and welcome to the Seaside Allotment channel, and today we're going to look at the planting plan for the polytunnel. Now, I've had this polytunnel now for 2 years and it's been amazing. I mean, one of the benefits of it is it's just an amazing sort of utility space for storage, to shelter from the wind and the rain. It's just great in summer as well. We put a mylar blanket up in the roof to reflect some of the heat out, and it's just a great place to shelter from the sun as well. And it's a great place to do harvesting, bring on seedlings. It's just, it's an amazing space. So pleased that we invested in it. So let's start just by looking at what we've got in the polytunnel right now, and then I'll go through the year and how we're planting it. So right now what we've got here is some empty space down at this end, which we're going to use for new lettuces. We've got existing lettuces down here. Around the periphery we've got radishes, and then here, you probably can't see it, we've got green garlic. In the corners and down in these pots here we've got carrots. In this bed we've got Medania's spinach interplanted with cauliflowers. Down this end we've got more lettuces interplanted with radishes and calabrese. And then behind me we've got salad rocket. We've got loads of different types of kales. Here we've got potatoes, carrots, more carrots, cuttings off perennial kales, all sorts of different brassicas there just being harvested for bits and pieces of leaves, and chard. So how's this all going to change? Well, everything's pretty much going to stay the same until May. About May the 5th to May the 10th, we start to replant everything. This hanging shelf comes out so that we've got climbing space for the tomatoes. Tomatoes go all the way along the back there, and then in front of those we have peppers. In this bench, underneath this trestle table rather, that's where we have peppers all the way along there. Just before May though, probably about April time, we'll start doing lots of work in containers. So I'll just show you around what we're going to do there. So in this corner we start off with early French beans. Just about here we'll have another container where we've got early runner beans. And these are amazing. I really recommend starting beans early. I wrap them up with a little bit of fleece just to protect them from any frost. And yeah, they just thrive, and we get beans probably 6 weeks earlier than you can get them outside, and that's really worth it. Now, as soon as it's warm enough outside, so sort of mid-May time, we'll move all the beans outside into this kind of area here, and they continue to grow fine. And in fact, we harvest beans from those containers all the way through until September time, so they're incredibly productive. In this corner here, even though it looks a little bit shaded, that's where we start our early courgettes, and we've got another similar corner down there where we'll do early courgettes as well. Now, they're not quite as early, probably not 6 weeks early, but about 4 weeks earlier than we can get them outside. If I put them in this sunnier area, we could probably get them earlier than that, but there's a lot of competition for this sunny high space here, and generally we'll use it for climbing crops. So these carrots will go outside in April time, and basically this whole length of the polytunnel here will transition to an early taste of summer crops. So let's take a look at what we've got here at the moment. So at the moment we've got lots of early potatoes, and obviously they'll start to be harvested in April time. We've got early carrots and whatever. So as this clears, what's going to go in here are early tomatoes in containers, early cucumbers in containers, early summer squashes. We really like Trumpicino and Centre Cut, which are a climbing squash, a bit like courgette but even more productive, especially early in the season. And then down here, early tomatoes. And then in this corner here, early cucumbers, early tomatoes. And then up in the roof space here, we've got early strawberries, and early strawberries down here as well. Now, by about July time, these early strawberries are basically finished, and if they're not finished anyway, they're quite happy outside. So we'll clear this roof space, and that allows the tomatoes to grow up into the roof space, and we let them come to about the middle of the polytunnel. So, you know, they come up the wires and then they come along here. So that means we get really big, effectively the benefit of really tall tomatoes, even though the polytunnel itself is quite small. Down here, these strawberries have gone as well, and we replaced these with bigger hanging baskets that contain cucamelons. And we really like cucamelons in summer, and we use them really like a radish in our salad mixes, because we don't really do much in the way of summer radishes. And they trail down basically from all of these hanging baskets down to about the bench, the trestle table here. Now, because all of these beds with the tomatoes and the peppers are going to be cleared in October, early October, we want to keep some of those summer veggies going until later in the season. So about midsummer we'll start a new batch of cucumbers, and probably early summer we'll start a second batch of tomatoes, and we'll grow those in containers in here, and that keeps the supply going well into sort of October and early November. And then again, some of the peppers will actually overwinter at home in the conservatory, and eventually those move onto the windowsill in the kitchen, and that gives us a nice supply of early peppers. In fact, those early peppers right now have just got loads of flowers on them, so it won't be very long until we get harvest off those. So in October of this year, we're doing something slightly different. All of this bed down here is going to be spinach, a mixture of Medania and red kitten, maybe a bit of giant winter as well. We'll also, in August, we'll start early carrots, and so we'll pop those into here in containers in about October time, basically, when we're clearing out. All of this bed down here, and this bed as well that's currently brassicas, all of this is going to be salad crops. And that's just because salad crops are just productive all the way through winter, whereas this kale is really only of any use in kind of April and May, in March and April, when the outside kales are kind of finishing, but these being later planted in October, carry on. But we've got other ways of getting late season kales, so we're going to make this bed productive all the way through winter and go 100% salads. In October, this hanging shelf goes in again, and this is where we put all of our overwintering brassicas. So this is all the cabbages, the calabrese, the early sprouts, all sorts of stuff like that, which does really well in here. It'll start getting planted, and cauliflowers start getting planted out into these polytunnel beds and some of the undercover outdoor beds. We start replanting these beds, interplanting these beds with brassicas in about January, February time, and then outside in about March time we start putting like the early cabbages and things out there. And then finally in sort of February time, which brings us back to where we are now, we'll start bringing these potatoes, which germinate at home where it's warm, but as soon as they're germinated, you can see these are a bit leggy at the moment. We bring them into the polytunnel, they get more light, it's a bit cooler, and these leggy plants soon turn into these nice looking plants like that. We'll be harvesting these starting April and then into May, which is just about when what we call the Christmas potatoes are finishing. So those are potatoes that we planted in August outside. They die back in about early November, but we just leave those in the containers, and we're still harvesting those now. And as I said, we'll continue to harvest those all through March and into April when those are ready. So that, I think, is a pretty good idea of what's going on in the polytunnel all year round. So, hope you like this quick video, and I'll see you soon.